Yep. It will be in Muslim nation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my show. My special guest today is Aage Nost. Aage is an author, a non-air personality, seasoned aircraft pilot, hypnotherapist, UFO research and cosmic explorer, a student of many science, including metaphysics, theatrical physics, and different forms of theories of spirituality. Can we please welcome Aage to the show? Hello there.
Hello, hello. I have coffee. Life is good.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk about time travel, what first convinced you that time travel is more than science fiction?
Well, it is science fiction too, because I've seen the movie. So, when you see it on the movie, it's got to be true, right? So,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
we take that same thing. If you see it on the internet, of course it's true. But there's an awful lot of evidence behind the fact that manipulating time is possible because we have a written evidence. In fact, some of that evidence date back about 2,800 years because there is this temple in Abydos, Egypt. On the main floor downstairs, there is this panel on the wall, and there is a carved perfect outline of an Apache helicopter. How could that show up? That's their pictures of that day. That was a picture that they did. So how could that show up 2,800 years ago unless they saw one?
Exactly. How can
Yeah,
that be?
yeah. And the thing is that we need to look into this a little bit because it can really work to our advantage. We uh, we can study timelines. We are all of us in our timeline going from the past, passing through the present, and heading off into the future. We don't really think of it that way because this is the only reality that we can see and experience. But there are other realities next to us. Quantum mechanics show us that. And for those of you out there watching right now, stay with us into this show because I'm going to demonstrate, I'll show you a time travel device that I have gotten some very strange experiences with. And if you want to show evidence of time travel, um, go to broadcastteamalpha.com. It is our website, broadcastteamalpha.com. Go into the picture gallery. And see, I think it is page 15. Right in the middle of the page, there is two
Mm.
pictures next to each other. The pictures are taken at the same time, but they are different. Big differences in it. And I think I'm the only one that I know of that actually have pictorial evidence of time travel. But click on the picture so you can read the text that goes with it, because that explains how I took it. So just do that. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
will do.
Yeah.
If someone travelled in the past, could they change events or would history correct itself?
Well, there are some paradoxes in the concept of time travel. Let me run. This is an old I think Einstein even talked about this. And he said, if you are traveling backwards in time, visiting your grandfather, and you accidentally killed him before he had any children, with other words, he would be dead before he could make your dad.
Yes.
That, that carries down to you, so you would not even exist. You would not exist, so you could go back and kill your grandfather. Now you got a loop that is impossible. But that's the thing. If you went back and accidentally killed your grandfather before he could have fun with your grandma, then this existence would not exist anymore. But since everything is energy, and energy never goes away, it only changes form, you would end up starting a new timeline from that point. A timeline in where you would have a grandfather, you would have a father, and you would be in that timeline. But this timeline would collapse into the field where it would exist all the way up to this point. So there is there's scientists that are saying that we probably there's one scientist that is a mathematician actually, Tom von Bach, I think he's a Dutchman,
Mm.
said that there is each person probably have somewhere between a few to 6,000 different timelines where they all exist. So we could be in as much as 6,000 different timelines going into the future. In some of those timelines, we may have had accidents and already died, or we may have been married to someone different, or we may have, you may have hair, like me.
Exactly.
So there are differences between those timelines. So, and this has been proven. There are many of you out there may have experiences like this where things look different. You see things that say, wait a minute, I don't remember that. That wasn't there.
Correct.
Yeah, or you're driving through a strange town and you know that right down, further down, there's going to be a church on the right side. But how do you know that? There is a possibility that you may have been driving through a town where you are in a different timeline, where that church is there, but next time you come through, you don't remember. Was there a church or was it not? I don't see it anymore, but
Yeah,
you
that
get
has happened to me.
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes you could be in a car and you went, I've been to this place before,
yeah,
but you've never been that way in a car before.
yeah.
But it's so strange,
By the way, did you know that in China, they passed a law here a couple of 2 or 3 years ago
right?
to make time travel is illegal.
Oh my God.
So why would they make a law prohibiting timeline if they knew it was possible?
Oh, yes.
And also, there is there was an archaeological dig also in China, and in fact, I saw the video of it. I think the video is still on YouTube. And there was they dug up a grave that has a sarcophagus in it, where there was a dead guy in it that has been there for 800 years. And when they opened it up,
Yeah.
the guy in there, he had Nike shoes on.
No.
Yeah. And there's another one where there was that was well over 1,000-year-old grave that they found a Swiss watch in it. So there's some people that is doing time
Time
travel,
travel.
and they have gone back into China and given that guy a pair of Nike shoes and a Swiss watch to someone. Now was on camera, and there were no way to fix it. They could not fake that.
No, that's true. There's Rick Allen in the chat room. He just said, "How do you know that aliens aren't faking time travel in order to deceive us?"
Well, that kind of proves the concept, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know aliens or extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings are using manipulation of time to come back here to go do things. And in fact, I tell you, speaking of that, there is some real evidence, that's recent evidence. There is a guy named Andrew Carlsen, and he was in 2003. He got arrested in New York for insider stock trading because he had done, I think it was 106 high risk trades, and he never lost money on one of them. Never.
Right.
And he started with $800, and in matter of, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, he had gained that up to $350 million.
How
Starting
did how did
from
he do
eight.
that?
Yeah, that's what the judge asked him, because he was arrested and he was brought before the judge, and the judge said, "Look here, you started with $800. 2 or 3 weeks later, you had $350 million. So that is totally impossible that could happen unless you had information that others did not have. That's called insiders trading.
Yes.
And you're going to stay in jail until you tell me who gave you the information." So Andrew Carlsen, he told the judge that, okay, he says, "I'm going to tell you. I am a time traveler from about 2600 and something." And he says, I read history. I found out which one of the smaller companies would explode into profitability. And I came back and I started playing those companies. And it happened exactly as it was predicted in the history books in 2600 and something. And the judge, of course, he laughed at him and said, "Yeah, you're going to stay in jail until you tell me. Take him away." So they took him to jail, and they put a $2 million bond bail on him. He couldn't get out unless he'd paid $2 million. So I think it was a couple of days later, there was a man that came in with a suitcase. $2 million in the suitcase in cash. They counted it. It was accurate. So they went and got Carl out of jail, and him and his friend left, and they were never seen again, either one of
Ooh,
them.
time
So,
travelers.
yeah, and this has been floating around on the social media and stuff, and people say, yeah, that was just a made up story. But I think, Bob, that you know enough about me that I'm a digger.
You are a digger.
Yeah, so I went to the Rikers Island jail website. Well, I'll be damned. Andrew Carlsen has a record of being there.
Oh,
And the court papers, I didn't read all of it,
no.
but there were talk of him being claiming to be a time traveler. So the story is real. Now, how would he do that unless he came back and knew what companies would profit that much? It's, I know a little bit about trading. I'm doing some of it, and I'll tell you, it from $800 to $350 million in profit in a couple of 3 weeks. That is pretty hard to do,
Very
unless of
is.
course, unless of course you get in on the ground floor of SpaceX right now. That'll go public on the 12th of this month. I mean, somebody put $1,000 in that, you're probably going to have $1 million in about 2 days. But doing what he did, I don't think it can be done.
No. Have you encountered people who claim to have experienced time travel slips or time anomalies?
Uh, I was reading the text here when you said that, so I didn't catch what you said.
Have you encountered people who claim to have experienced time slips or time anomalies?
I I can say I believe so, but I don't know. Now the YouTube, they have several people that claim to be from the future, but this is a story that I don't think I've ever told. That was back in Omaha when I lived there, Omaha, Nebraska, and I was putting out a newsletter called the Constitutional Liberator. And there were some things that was so controversial that I wrote about that I didn't want to use my own name, so I used a pen name.
Right.
And I wrote several articles on that. And then there was one day I used the name Francis Tudor, which was the name of Saint Germain. And there were one day I got a call, and I was one of the first people in town, I think, that got this call identifier. Then, you can see who called you.
Yeah.
Boy, did I have fun with that one. When people call me, I said, if I saw there was a guy named Bob, and I say, hey, hello, Bob. And then it was, how did you know it was me? Well, they didn't know that these things were available yet.
Right.
But this call, there was just a bunch of strange numbers across. So I answered the phone, and he said that he wanted to talk to Francis. And I said, there's no Francis here. And he said, Francis Tudor. And
Oh,
then the light went off on me. And I have never attached Francis Tudor to my phone number. So he said, where did you get that name from? And I asked him who he was. And he never really answered. He gave, I forget what he said, but there was kind of a roundabout answer.
yeah.
And and he was hesitating in answering my questions. And I mentioned Saint Germain. It was one of his names, and he said, "You are right." And then the last thing he said was that he wondered why I was using it, and I said, well, it got so controversial, I just didn't want to use my own name. But and he said, that is okay. And then he said, the last thing he says, what is the importance of a name anyway for someone like us? And one of the articles I wrote was about time travel, but I signed it as Francis Tudor.
Right.
So it could be a fake call, but the guy had a French accent. And I not much, but I know enough about French. I can understand the language, so I knew the guy was from France. And I found out later Francis Tudor, or what, the guy that was born in 1630 or so,
Yeah.
is still alive and he lives in France.
Amazing.
So I I don't know.
Is he a time traveler then?
Well, he found out how to be immortal, which is pretty simple actually. I have several videos that show you how to do it because I am on a program that teaches you how to do that because it's really very simple. Three In 2003, three doctors got the Nobel Prize for discovering an enzyme that reverses the aging process, and they never told us. I found out how to do it because I'm doing exactly like a guy that died from an accident at 256 years old. And by the way, I'm 80 right now, so I'm doing something right.
You're doing great.
And I wrote a book on that. It's called Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. In there, I explain how to do it, but I do explain the enzyme and all that. So you go to Amazon and you find the book. You can put my name in there and you'll find it, or put the book name in there. So whatever. But that's beside the point. I guess we were going to talk about time travel.
There's another question from Shelley here. Question thought
Yeah.
on this more than one kind of our company deceased and a couple something else communicating amongst each other along with humans. If you could get that.
Yeah, question kind of company. One kind of company. I'm not so sure I understand the question. The deceased, couple some.
And a couple.
Well,
Something else.
the deceased, they are communicating with us every so often. They don't necessarily speak, so we can hear it, but they communicate through other ways. That could be done in dreams. They have a way to get to us when your brainwave pattern is coming down into the theta range during sleep. They have more of an access to our mind, so they can place images and concept into the mind. And maybe even words and sentences. But they can also communicate through thoughts. You get a thought that don't make sense. It comes from somewhere. Because I also read a scientific report saying that most of our thoughts don't come from our long-term memory. It comes from the outside, because they did experiment on that, and they found that there are parts of the brain when a thought appears. There are parts of the brain that light up before it lights up in the hippocampus, where the long-term memory is. So it comes from somewhere else. That is the entry from the outside coming in through there's a entry in the back. I forget the name of it. I'm struggling on this one, but
It's all right.
it's not the pituitary or the no, I'll think of it. But
Yeah.
it appears as thoughts come from outside of our physical body, entering the brain and being translated into thoughts. So there may be something to that.
Is the future already written, or are there multiple possible futures?
Everything that is happening from now into the future comes through us from the field or from the universal mind. And remember those 6,000 different timelines? They all access the field. And they get from, because whatever you, I'm trying to figure out how to say this so I can understand it. Whatever you think of today, let's say you say, oh, I got to do that tomorrow. That thought goes into the field and it sits there. Tomorrow you will remember, oh, that's right, I was going to do that today. So it comes back from the field, filters through the brain, and comes out as conscious understanding of you knowing what you have to do. Some of it comes from the hippocampus as memory streams. Let's say you read a book, okay, so you put it in the long-term memory and then you remember some of it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that after about 20 minutes, you've forgotten 80-90% of what was in the book. That's because we don't know how to remember. There's a way to do that. And that's from a mind development course I used to teach about 30 years ago. It's called ZOX Pro Training. ZOX Pro. Just go Google it and you'll find out. That teaches you photographic, as close to photographic memory as you can get. And also how to assimilate information out of a book at 50 to 100,000 words per minute with 95% retention. And we tested people and it worked for most people, pretty much everybody. But memory may not come from us. It could come from the field. It could come from the future, you, or it could come from the past. So memories and images that we have, they can come from absolutely everywhere. Now, our future is not locked down in stone. We create the future by what we think and what we do, what we believe, and what we imagine in our mind in vivid, colorful images. Those concepts are creating a ball of energy that follows you into the future and creates around you. And that happens also. Let's say that you have something. Oh, this is good. Let me tell you how you can change even the past. Let's say you did something really stupid several years ago. I got my hand up on that one.
Yeah. Same here.
But you really would love for that not to have happened. There is some scientific evidence that this is possible. There is this quantum, actually not even, it's a mental scientific experiment. It's called the Helmut Schmidt experiment. Go ahead and Google it and you will find it. He did several experiments where he went back in time and altered the past.
Oh,
It is very possible it can be done, but you don't alter this timeline. By going back and changing the past, you are not erasing this because there's energy in this and energy doesn't go away, so it continues. But when you go back and change the past, you create a new timeline where you go into that future with the altered past. So the stupid thing in your past does not exist. And the trick there is that when you alter the past, you may not be able to remember the stupid thing that you did. So when you get to that time where you may have done that, you may end up doing the same thing. But that you do, let's say Christmas Eve, let's say, well, last year, you did something stupid.
yeah,
So you go back to the 1st of December and tell yourself, I will no longer do whatever you did. And you imagine yourself going to the Christmas Eve party and doing something totally different that will be much more beneficial to you. Visualize that thing in your mind for about 3 weeks, and you may end up walking into something where that stupid thing doesn't exist. There are experiments that is done on this too. And that is what comes out in the Helmut Schmidt experiment, because he really did that. You can read about that experiments if you like. And there are others also.
right.
That's the best one I can think of.
It sounds good. Another
Yeah.
question here from Shelley. Question I'm trying to understand is that one entity displaying itself as seven different entities at the same time for some reason.
7 different entities at the same time. Question trying to understand. The one entities,
It must be
7.
one entity is exchanging itself 7 times, I presume.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. You are one entity here in the physicality, even though you are a multidimensional being. But the physicality is one entity here. In a different timeline, you are a different entity physically. So let's say that you hurt yourself here, you may not be hurt in that other timeline. In fact, you wouldn't. So I would say probably different entities. But here's something good for you doubters out there. There is, in fact, if you go to bbc.com, that is, I'll read the site to you. I think there was one, I think maybe there were 2 different scientists that did an interview on time travel. And they said, yes, time travel is real. We know how to do it, but we can't really do it yet. You can go to bbc.com/news/July 11, 2018. And the scientist says, we can build a time machine. We know how to do it. But we can't really do it yet because it's not the time for it.
Right.
So go check on that. I think you're going to like that.
I'm sure
So
it will do.
Yeah, remember also Ben Rich, he was the head of the skunk works in California, where they make all kinds of futuristic things. He said, if you have seen it on Star Trek, we already know how to do it. That he
Yes, I
said
agree with that.
in 1978. He said that. So what else do you think they know how to do now?
Show us about what you're going to show us now about time travel.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's just and what I want to do also, that is something that I have not done for quite a while. I think about over the last 10 years or so, I have shown this to people probably about 2 or 3 times. And that is to show you a time travel device that I have that I've had some very strange experiences with. But before I do that, let me explain what time is. There is actually no physical evidence that time actually exists. It is a construct, a construct that is created by the mind so that we're able to have a linear projection from the present into the future. That way we can see and experience what's going on. Because time, past, present, and future, actually is existing in only the present now. And our mind is not able to understand that. If we had the past, present, and future sitting in our mind right now and be displayed to us, it would be just a mess. We couldn't understand it. So the mind create a system by we have different frames of present moments. And that is something that let me there is actually some scientific evidence on this also. There's a Russian scientist that I just found out about not long ago, about a year ago. He talks about this. I wrote about this in my book because I saw it in a download when the universe was explained to me. I saw the frames of time. Time is actually a present moment where the electrical component of the picture of the present moment spikes. And then it moves over a little bit and it collapses to nothing. That electric spike comes back up again as a present moment and collapses to nothing. And it keeps doing that all the way forward. And in between each one of those spikes, there is nothing. And there is actually there is an electronic equivalent to that, which is called a square wave generator. That is the sine wave on that is there's a spike and the spike collapses to nothing. Then it spikes again and collapses to nothing. The square wave generator will do that. And the distance between each one of those spikes is the Planck distance. That is 1.6 times 10 to the minus 35th. And that don't mean a lot to unless you're a mathematician or deep into science, but it is 10 to 20th of the size of a proton. Now that's pretty small. That's the distance between each present moment. And they are moving so fast, it looks like a continuous movie for us. That's what time is. And also talking about BBC television, in 2003, BBC television came over to the United States to do a TV documentary on time travel. They had Michio Kaku on there, and everybody knows him. And
Yeah.
yeah, Green was on there, is another theoretical physicist, and I was on there, where I demonstrated the time travel device that I'm going to show you here in about 2 minutes. And I demonstrated it on that TV documentary. You can go to BBC television, and I'm sure they still have it, the one on time travel. Now, I have learned a lot about timelines since that time. So some of the things that I talked about on there that I saw did not happen. Some did, but there's some things did not happen. And because back then I was all about the corruption of government. That's where my mind was. But I'm not that anymore. So I'm at a different timeline now than I was back then. So that is probably one of the reasons why it didn't happen. But I think also that I know some of you out there want to see this time travel device. So let's do that. There is a I'm going to show you this first. This is also a radionic device. The last part I'm going to show you is the most important part. But this is what disseminates and set up the energy field for the magnet to work. And it looks like this. You have two dials that, and there's a stick plate. So
Right.
it is just like a radionic computer, only it goes a little further. And then you have the red button right here. That's the on and off switch.
Yeah.
And then the yellow one, that's the field tuner. And the other one down here, that is used if you want to heal somebody at a distance, which also a radionic computer can do. And there's a well here that, let's say if I had, let's say if somebody have, let's say a cold, and I had a piece of a blood drop or a piece of their hair, I can put that in this well, and I can tune the knobs and move the finger back. I turn the knob a little bit, move the finger back. Wherever the fingers stick, that's where I want to keep the knob.
Right.
The same thing here. I tune until it sticks again. And then I leave it there. I flip the switch on and the bottom one, and I leave it on for a few hours. And what would very likely happen is that your nose starts running really bad, and then the cold is over. I had a radionic computer, a Mark 12, made by Copen Labs in England. I had that, and we did some really interesting things with it. We created vitamin C out of distilled water, and we got rid of colds and things, which we're not really supposed to do according to the AMA, because these things are supposed to be illegal in the United States. Well, I'm not sure it is anymore, but there are radionic clinics in England where you can actually do this kind of healing. It is very effective. You probably know about that.
Hmm.
And
Sounds
here,
good.
this cord is plugged in the wall, and that's a long cord here. Now let me show you this. This this box. Actually, this box got a time chip in it. that is coded. Well, Stephen Gibbs would never tell me. It was what did he call it? Proprietary. That's what he called it. So he didn't want to talk much about the chip because he said that that's something that was given to him by an extraterrestrial. So he went and followed the directions and they coded a chip for it. So they had that magnified. But also we put this time coil around our head and we plug that in to the box. And we keep it right above the third eye, right about just right above your eyebrows. And then I'm going to show you something else here. Okay. And this is a magnet. It is very heavy. And it is extremely powerful. It's a neodymium magnet. I forget how to pronounce even that. It is one of the strongest magnets that I think they have something that is stronger now. But back here about 30 years ago when I got this one, that's the strongest there was. And you plug the cord into the box. And then when you have the box turned on, make sure you don't get it close to a computer screen because you will destroy the screen. I know that for a fact. I did it.
Yeah.
And then you put it against your solar plexus and hold it there. At the same time, you will go into a meditative state. Before you do the meditative state, you picture the place and the time you want to go to. Now, I gotta say, I started out experimenting with this. I couldn't get anything done. Nothing happened. And I finally figured it out that I had to lower my brainwave pattern. I started experimenting by lowering my brainwave pattern. And I can do that in meditation.
Right.
So that I got it down to about 7, right at 7. Actually, 7.4 is the ideal. But I got it down to right about 7.4 or 7. That's when I started to see things and experience things. Because I think the manipulation of the brainwave pattern was the important part. And that's why I couldn't get anything done when I was sitting there looking at, let's say I had a screen where I had a picture of a place where I wanted to go to, and nothing happened. When I closed my eyes and lowered the brainwave pattern to 7 or 7.4, wherever it ended up, that's when I started to. One time, I was I saw myself walking down the street in Tucson, and I walked up to a newspaper stand, a box, where you
Yeah.
put coins in it and you pull it out.
Mm.
And I could read the headline, and the date on it was 6 months in the future. And the thing about it is that I was walking one way on the street, and there were people coming the other way, and I made eye contact with them. I'm not so sure if I would be able to make eye contact if I wasn't there physically so they could see me. If I wasn't there physically, why would they make eye contact? Or why would you move
Wow.
out of my way as I walked forward?
I remember a story from years ago where a bloke did all this and finished in Australia.
Yeah,
And
that's
he had
right.
to ring his parents up to keep sending him some money to fly him back.
That's right. Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, and that is very well documented. And there's another one too. There was a young guy that he was in college, living home with his parents, and he bought one of these, and he got the box, and he got upstairs, and he evidently started experimenting with it. So in the evening, his mom came up to get him down for dinner, and she came up in the room, so he wasn't there, so she walked downstairs, and he thought, oh well, he just went out with his friends. Late at night, she walked back in there again, and he still wasn't there. So well, I guess he's staying over with some friends. Next day, she found out he wasn't at school either. Now she got worried, so she called in a missing person report, and the police came out, and she took him up to the room, and in the middle of the room there was the time travel box, the magnet, and the time coil laying in the middle of the bed, but he was nowhere to be seen. And of course, in a case like that, the police is looking for someone who killed him. So
Yes.
the parents became the target. They searched the whole house. They searched the backyard and everywhere, and they
The
did a big
basement.
investigation. And the kid never ever showed up anywhere again.
Ah, oh my God.
So this is not a toy.
Boy.
We got to be serious, because I would highly recommend, don't go back so far that you cannot come
Get
back.
back.
If somebody came, because, well, he left the equipment behind when he disappeared. So, but if you take the equipment, if the equipment goes with you and you don't have electricity to plug it into, you're screwed in coming back.
Yes, you are. Yeah. So if you were trying it out, would you just go to the future then?
That, yeah, then hopefully we'll have electricity, right? So,
Exactly.
but I think the future is probably safer. And because if you go back into the past, now there is two of you. That actually, if you meet yourself, you could end up with a time loop that may not be good for one of you. Now,
Right.
I'm not so sure if that is actually true, but the theory
Possibly.
says that. Then again, there is a guy in Sweden, and you can find him on YouTube. Uh, he said he had a time travel experiment where he went back and he met himself. And he got a video of himself because his phone came with him. He got
Oh,
a video of himself standing together holding hands with his other self. They had the same tattoo. They look exactly the same. Only one of them looks slightly older than the other one. But that definitely is the same guy. So I'm not so sure if that time loop is actually something that happens, but the quantum mechanics talk of it as being somewhat of a danger to one of you. But going into the future, pick a safe place where you want, picture in your mind where you want to go and picture the time. Now, how do you picture time?
yeah. How can you
Okay.
do that?
Yeah, that's the thing. I I have tried to do that by looking at a clock or at the calendar. That never done anything for me. But the thing is, if you picture something that you expect to be in the future, like a futuristic car, futuristic airplane, or a futuristic building in a city, that could bring you to that time where those things exist. Because you thought of it, you put it in the field, it exists now. So now you can go and attach the field and bring it into the future, you can see it. So this gets a little complicated, but that's
Stephen's
that's
in got a question here. Hi, Aage. The Vatican has a device called the chronovisor, don't they?
yes. Go to Broadcast Team Alpha, put in the search bar, Broadcast Team Alpha on YouTube or on the website. Go put in the search bar the chronovisor. I did a video on that where I explained what it looked like. And in fact, there's a picture of something that is created to depict what it looked like. And also the effects that they could get on who made it. Watch that video. That's a good one. And also there's another there's a recent let's see there's a timeline. Somebody had a video on that. There was the switching between timelines. There's somebody had a video on YouTube on that, and I think he made a lot of sense the way he talked about doing that. So this is all I can do in about an hour. So
You've done well, I'll tell you.
yeah, but
You know, when we
was
before we
yeah.
go, when was last time you used that machine then?
I haven't used it for quite a while, several years actually, because I have found a way to do it without the electronics by using my mind. In fact, let me show you. And in this book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness, I wrote that for the doers of the world. And I have a chapter in the back of it that explains how you can do this. It takes a little practice, but good things comes to the one that waits, right? So just keep practice. It took me probably a month doing something like that every day, and then I found myself somewhere. Actually, I don't talk about this a lot because when you start messing with time, you are affecting other people's lives also.
Right.
And going into the future, I have seen enough of the future. I am not worried at all. It's going to be wonderful. Now, there will be, probably not too long from now, there will be a time for maybe a month or so when nothing works. It could be very scary. But the future is really good the way I saw it. And the only danger I could say is that I would not live on the coast.
I know you're coming from there.
If big rocks come out of the sky, that will create a tsunami that could wash the coast clean.
Away.
That's
Yes.
the only thing I can say that just might be a possibility.
But otherwise, the future looks good.
Very good. In fact, prosperity among people is going to flourish because of a different system of economics. It's an asset-backed, and Trump is talking about this $140 trillion national treasure that he calls it. That thing is real. I've seen it. So and the rest of the world is going to go through the same kind of process. So the only problem you have in England
Oh, God.
are the people that is trying to take the country over right now,
Yes.
coming from the south. Don't
Yes.
let them do it, because according to their holy book, if you do not believe what way they do, yeah, they are supposed to kill you.
Or they'll take over.
Yeah,
That's true.
don't let
That's
them do
true.
it.
No. No, I agree with you there, Aage. Totally.
Yeah,
Well, the hour's gone so quickly, but it's
yeah.
always good when you're on here and talking about time travel. It's a fascinating subject.
Well,
And it
I,
gets
I
people
hope you
talking.
I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. So that'd
Oh,
be
I
great.
did. I did. And people in the chat room, they enjoyed it as well with the questions.
Yeah.
So where can people get your books?
Okay, you go to Amazon and you find spiritual science, higher conscious thinking, and how to access the universal consciousness. By the way, I also teach you how to do the age reversal in here. That's it's really very simple, actually. It's so simple, even I can do it.
Oh God. Yeah, but you're
Uh, by the way, I do have another book also. It's right on the shelf up here, called Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. It's not on Amazon, but you can find it, and Google it and you find it. That is, if you are in business or you like to be in business, or if you want to have a more smooth running family, that book's for you, because it teaches you how the billionaires think. Super successful people, they're not only successful with money, that is one thing, but they're also super successful people. They're also successful in their life, running their life. When you run your life by success principles, all the details will fall into place.
When's what day's your radio show on?
The show is on Thursday night at 8 o'clock East Coast time, 5 o'clock Pacific. I think 8 o'clock. That's 1 in the morning, I think, in England.
Yeah.
But I also do a show on Sunday night at the same time. It's 8 o'clock East Coast time, where I do a lot of the videos on my own there, talking about things that can make people's lives better.
What about, don't you talk sometimes about mind control?
Mind control, yeah, gosh. Maybe that's another show, huh?
Yes, I think that'd be a great thing to talk about, mind control, some other
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Everybody is mind controlled one way or the other. Have you ever watched TV? You're being mind controlled.
Yes. It's true. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. I don't watch TV anymore. Well, I got the big screen on the wall, but I watch YouTubes and stuff that I want to see.
Yeah, what you want to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do right as well. So thank you very much, Aage, for coming on the show. Thank you to
Yeah.
everybody in the chat room.
Okay. And send me a link for it and I'll help you give it legs.
Yes, yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
And
you very much.
get in touch with me. Go to broadcastteamalpha.com. You find the contact feature. Send me an email and I'll get back to you.
I'm sure you will do as well. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.